Hello everyone. All of us take medicines. It may be tablet, capsule, syrup, suppository, sprays, injections, whatever the route may be. But it's very important that we follow the correct mode of administration. Even though it's a very simple and basic thing, we see a lot of patients who make mistakes in this. So today, let me address a few of them and point out most commonly done mistakes in these. Most of the time, injections are administered in the hospital, maybe except insulin injection. So let's not concentrate on these so-called parenteral medications, and we'll keep our discussion limited only to oral medicines. Most commonly done mistake is the incorrect timing of medicine administration. If a tablet needs to be taken only once a day, then most of the patients take it accurately. But if it's to be taken twice or thrice a day, then the entire timing goes haywire. Mind you, timing is the key, especially when it comes to antibiotic administration. A good antibiotic may be rendered ineffective because of the chaotic timing. Let me explain to you how. If a doctor asks to take the antibiotic 3 times a day, it doesn't mean that the patient got up late, so he takes the morning dose at 9 a.m. and then the next dose after lunch at 1 p.m. and the third dose after dinner at 9 p.m. No. When the antibiotic needs to be taken 3 times a day, it means it's 24 divided by 3. That is, the tablet needs to be taken every 8 hours. So if it takes the morning dose at 7 a.m., the next dose should be taken at 3 p.m. and the third dose should be taken at 11 p.m. This is because when the doctor asks you to take the antibiotic 3 times a day, the antibiotic has its effect for about 8 hours. And by this arbitrary timing, you are providing antibiotic free interval in the middle. A lot of patients discontinue their antibiotic. Once the symptoms resolve, they just stop taking the tablets and don't complete their course. Doing this will cause harm not just to the patient but for the entire community. Surprised? Let me explain to you how. Antibiotics, as the name suggests, they act against the bacteria. Now, they either make the bacteria completely ineffective or kill them, that is bacteriostatic or bactericidal. Now, when you launch this attack system against the bacteria by taking the antibiotics, they are not going to budge to it so easily. They will create ways to escape from the bacteria or counteract it. Now, this whole thing is called as antibiotic resistance by the bacteria. Now, imagine you start taking an antibiotic course for some infection. Now, as you started taking the tablet, the antibiotic starts acting against the bacteria. Say, for example, if it is bactericidal, it starts killing the bacteria. But at the same time, bacteria also tries to develop ways to counteract this antibiotic. That is, the bacteria also tries to develop resistance. Let's say this antibiotic is very good and the bacteria are not able to do anything much. So the antibiotic keeps killing the bacteria. Say after about 2 days, about 50 to 60% of the bacteria die and your symptoms resolve. Mind you, there are still 40 to 50% of the bacteria alive and they are trying to develop resistance against that antibiotic. But now your symptoms resolved. If you stop taking the medication, those little bit of live bacteria which are remaining, they will grow and obviously they will develop resistance against this antibiotic. Now, if this infection gets spread from you to another patient, you are not just providing bacteria to that patient, you are providing this antibiotic resistant bacteria to that patient. So if these things keep on happening for longer time in the community, then the entire community will have strain of bacteria which is completely resistant to that particular antibiotic, making it ineffective and obsolete. So, years of research, effort, hard work, everything goes waste because of this kind of irrational usage of antibiotic. Similar things also happen when you skip 1 or 2 doses in between the antibiotic course or administer at inappropriate timings as mentioned previously. So what happens is you are providing that window of antibiotic free interval so that it is easy for the bacteria to develop resistance against that antibiotic. let's talk about tablet intake with relation to food intake. Now, as you know, few of the tablets need to be taken on an empty stomach, few tablets with food or after food. So the main idea in this is to have optimum absorption of the tablet into the bloodstream. If you are asked to take a tablet empty stomach, that is before food, the main reason is that we do not want any interaction between the tablet and the compounds in the food particle. The idea is to keep the stomach empty so that the tablet gets fully absorbed into the bloodstream before food gets into the stomach. So if you don't follow this, then you would have taken the tablet, but it has not reached the bloodstream because there were some interaction between food and the tablet. When you're asked to take the tablet with food or after food, the main idea is to protect the stomach lining from the harsh effects of the tablet. Now, that is to dilute the tablet with the food particles. Now, if you don't follow this, then you may end up having some harsh effects on the stomach lining, causing gastritis, that is acidity or nausea, vomiting, etc. All of us have split the tablet into two pieces to take half the dosage, right? Well, it's okay to split the tablet in most of the cases, but may not be all. I'll come to that. But a few things about that is, once you split the tablet, please remember to keep the other half in an airtight container, because once you have split it, you do not want to have some reaction with the air or moisture and it losing its potency or efficiency. And it goes without saying that your next dosage should be the already split tablet and not a fresh tablet which you are going to split again. That is, minimize the time duration between opening and splitting the tablet and its consumption. Now, as I told you, it may not be okay in all the cases, because what happens is some of the tablets have a coating outside, which are basically to ensure their sustained or delayed release. Now, by opening it, you are damaging that. And the other thing, maybe it may have a coating to protect from the harsh effects of the stomach acids. Now, again, the same thing. If you open it and eat, then the compound may get destroyed by the stomach acid before it reaches, say, the intestine. And of course, you are not supposed to split the capsules for reasons that we are going to discuss now. So if a tablet has a mark in the middle, then it's definitely okay to split it into two pieces. But if it doesn't have a mark, please confirm about its safety of splitting by asking either your doctor or the pharmacist. Let's discuss about capsules. Capsules are of two types. One is the solid capsules, which are basically drug particles having cover on either side, or soft gelatinous capsules, which are basically one piece covering having drug particles mixed with an oily base. There are different reasons why medicines are prepared this way, unlike the tablets. It could be that it is not possible to compact these compounds into one piece. Absorption of the drug compound may get affected before it reaches the site of its absorption. That is, for example, if a drug needs to get absorbed from the intestine, it may get affected on its way as it passes through the stomach by the stomach acid. So it needs protection during that time. So the capsule may be to provide protection during that period so that the compound reaches safely till the small intestine, so called as entry coating. The other reason could be the drug compounds are mixed with some oily base and having a soft gelatinous cover, so that this oily base facilitates in smoother and quicker absorption. So as you can see, capsules are prepared this way for a reason. So definitely it is not right to open the capsule and then consume it. While there may be some exceptions, like if a patient is unable to take anything orally and is dependent on the nasogastric tube, so called as Ryle's tube, then it is not possible to put the capsule into the Ryle's tube. So in those circumstances, we may open the capsule and put the drugs into the Ryle's tube, even though the absorption is going to be suboptimal. Few other things that you should be careful about are being vigilant about not taking wrong medication. Even though it may sound silly, we come across a lot of patients who are actually taking totally different medicine than what we have prescribed to them. Avoiding double dosing, that is, sometimes patients forget that they have taken the tablet and end up taking it again. Overdosing, we prescribe some particular strength of a tablet, say for example 500 mg, but patients end up taking higher strength, that is 750 mg, and they continue to consume that higher strength. Similar thing can happen with underdosing as well. Consuming the tablet with any liquid other than water, well, it may be okay in case of most of the tablets, but it may not be so in few of them. That is, few medications may have some interactions with other compounds like say milk or juice, whatever it may be. So it's always safer to take the medications with water. However, if you're in doubt, you can always discuss this with your pharmacist or the prescribing doctor. Making mistakes with measurements in case of syrup, more commonly observed in case of pediatric patients. That is, parents use different sizes of spoon to provide syrup to the child. So please avoid using spoon for the measurement. Instead, use the cup that is provided along with the syrup, or for that matter, even syringes are okay. Consuming a lot of different medications which are obviously given for different purposes all at the same time. What happens is sometimes these medications may have reaction with one another, increasing or decreasing the potency and efficacy of each other. So the best way would be to discuss with your doctor about all the medications that you're already taking. So these were a few of the mistakes that patients do on a day-to-day basis. I hope this video was of some help to you. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and for more health and wellness related videos, subscribe to this channel.